Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of GnWC Weekly. I'm the Duke, and I'm joined by my good buddy,
Jim J. Bullock.
Nice. I like it.
I am in the bottom middle square, am I? No, that was Shadow Stevens.
Yeah, Shadow Stevens was...
Did you know that in the scene in The Wizard where they bust out the power glove, before they start playing the video game Rad Racer, they're watching Hollywood Squares, and Jim J. Bullock was front and center on the TV.
Nice.
Nobody gets it in the
as he should be.
Nobody gets it except for me. Whenever somebody brings up the clip on TV on stream, like it's Jim J. Bullock, and they're just like, no, it's Fred Savage. It's the Wizard. Like, you know, guys are all idiots.
But that's yeah, we're old. So that's Larry. I'm the Duke, and we're going to talk about wrestling. That's what we do here on the Game and Wrestling Connection.
There is a first part of that
Twitch.
We kind of abandoned, but whatever.
I mean, we talk about it sometimes. I'm saving up for a Nintendo Switch, believe it or not. To like, it's a fun little like. This is how you delay gratification a little bit to save up to get something you want. Experiment or demonstration with my daughter. Like we're putting money in a jar, and when the money gets to a certain point, we're going to go out and buy a Nintendo Switch and some games and stuff like that, so that she'll have her first game console. And it's, you know, it's made for people her age. She's 5. So there you go.
Do you know that basically sums up my opinion on the Switch? It's made for people her age. She's 5.
Sure.
That's you just nailed a 3-month-old ongoing rant that I've been having
which is
in
why,
chat.
That's why Larry's mad at the Nintendo Switch, but that's who it's made for. It's made for kids. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, made for kids and people who don't realize it's 2017 and not 2011 anymore. But yeah, so
I don't know what that means.
Oh well, I'll explain it when we get off the air, because everyone in my channel has heard this rant 100 times. But can we talk about Monday Night Raw?
Yeah.
So first and foremost,
go.
At what point in time during that Big Show Braun Strowman match were you like, they're gonna do the ring collapses spot?
The very first time they touched a turnbuckle.
Yeah.
The very I don't even think they stayed in the turnbuckle that long, because they did a good job of telling the story of we're slowly getting to where we're going to destroy the ring. That was the story of the match, but it was literally the very first time like they even stepped foot toward the turnbuckle. I'm like, oh, I know where this is going, and it'll be good, and it makes sense, and it's sort of the new giant christening, I guess you could say, or coming of age, despite their previous match being a better match and so on and so forth. But obviously, that's where it was going.
That other match was so good. If that had the ring collapse spot, that's all you needed.
Sure.
But I can't believe how bad this match was in comparison to the other match, because that other match made me like, hey, Big Show's still legit, man. Like, he's the best.
This was sort of like Big Show's swan song, like the same. It was like the same match as the Undertaker match at WrestleMania, where he's just running out of gas. Like that was literally what was happening to Big Show, and he didn't look that good from the jump. So it was weird.
No, he was out of breath like almost instantly, and a couple times, like, you know, doing like, I guess, lifting up each other or blocking each other from lifting each other's spots. Like, he looked winded.
Yeah, it was odd.
Wow,
it was odd.
And they're touting him as best shape of his life, and he doesn't look in that bad of shape. And based off, based off his other match with Braun Strowman a couple weeks ago, I was willing to believe it and be like, hey, you know, I do want to see more of this guy. And then this match, and I'm just like, well, at least this match gave us the ring spot, which I'm not mad about. I mean, at some point during that match, I'm like, wow, they don't have the LED boards on the sides of the ring. They don't have the LED boards on the ring post. I can't remember, and I just looked through the pictures of Raw. They weren't there the whole night. But at that point in time, I couldn't remember if they were there the whole night or not. I'm like, this ring is going down.
I thought they were there before. I thought the LEDs on the corners were at least there.
No, because I'm looking through the pictures, unless it's a little bit different, because I'm seeing the pictures of Ambrose and The Miz in the ring during Miz TV, and other pictures of like Gallagher and T.J. Perkins, and I
Oh,
don't see the
that
LED.
was exactly where I was thinking they were. So yeah, then I'm wrong. I'm just wrong.
Unless the picture is just not capturing it, and I'm just thinking that the ring post would be a lot more rounder, a lot larger if it was on there.
Sure.
I could be wrong still, but I was still second guessing myself whether it was there or not. Um, so this
But
passes the,
highly doubtful with the ring collapse.
yeah.
Set up. Yeah,
So this passes the torch on Braun Strowman becoming the monster, I guess, and
I
putting
guess.
Roman Reigns out of action and deflating the Big Show and standing up at the end of this. What's your opinion on him thanking the Big Show on social media after the match?
Um, I don't know. It's
First of all, was it done in character, or was it done as it was his personal account that did it? I think.
Oh, was it not on the Strowman account? Or was it on the Adam Scherer account?
I think it was on his personal account.
Hang on, let's verify that.
Yeah, you
I thought
verify
it
this,
was
and I
on-
want to talk about something that we missed last week. And I
Okay.
can't believe we missed it with the Superstar Shakeup. All members of the Shield are on the same show.
I said that.
Did you say that?
I straight up said that.
Okay. Well, we didn't really go harp on it though.
Well, I said it. Yeah, you're right. It was sort of a side note to, I was saying, what if Roman gets moved over to SmackDown because everyone else was kind of killed off? I said, but actually, now that I think about it, all three members of the Shield are on the same show.
Okay.
No, they're not going to pass up the opportunity to, mess with that, tease that again at some point.
That is something that they're going to tease. They're going to bring it up, and I don't know if if things are going poorly, plan B. Let's just put the Shield back together, and then like everybody be interested again, kind of thing, or if it's something they have in the back of their mind to do. And that's fine. I mean, they've teased it enough and have had reunifications at times enough, whether it's two or all three members. So it's always on your mind. The one thing, though, that is kind of depressing about it all is we move people over from show to show, and we're going to get Dean Ambrose versus The Miz. Is this not something we had over on SmackDown for a couple months? Here and there?
It's glaringly apparent that a lot of things really they seem to have run out of ideas, and people, everyone says this, they really don't know how to build up stars, and they're so afraid of not having their top guys or whatever, their mid to top guys on TV at all times, just constantly overexposing them, that we just see the same stuff over and over and over again. It's really strange. I'm amazed that Roman Reigns wasn't somehow on TV. They had to mention him like 100 times, but I'm shocked that he wasn't on TV at all.
I really expected
that was really surprising.
I really expected the ambulance driving into the building and Roman Reigns coming out of the passenger seat or something, or his music just blaring at the end of it. I did expect something with Roman Reigns there, but they're doing a hell of a job making him look like the underdog again. Broken ribs, fractured this, bruised that. The guy always has to be an underdog, and
he can't just be dominant. Why make a guy that looks like him just be a dominant monster when you can just keep building him from the bottom up, and that doesn't work over and over and over and over and over again. So we say it doesn't work, but
apparently it does work, because everybody kept talking about his win after WrestleMania this week.
Oh, you want to get me on it already, don't you? Okay,
I think that's called a softball. Isn't that not softball?
Yeah, that was a perfect segue. So here we go.
I'm gonna drink water pretty loudly while you do this. So
this sounds great. Okay, so it there's this thing that WWE puts out on their website, their social media. It's this power rankings thing, and it's essentially a kayfabe tier list, is what it is. And so it's what people have been talking about this week. So you're going through it all, and it's showing things like Braun Strowman turning over. Well, I guess maybe it was last week's because it was showing Braun Strowman turning over an ambulance and so on and so forth. And I guess somebody liked it on Twitter. I don't follow WWE on Twitter because I don't want things spoiled for me that I haven't seen already. So like if I'm watching 205 late or NXT or something like that.
205 late. That's a great new name for the show.
Good call. It is late. But anyway, so I don't know why. I don't know what exposed this to me because it's something that I never really paid that much attention to. But I'm like, I'll watch it. It's like a 2-minute video. So it's it's Dean Ambrose and The Miz coming in contact with each other. It's this, that, and the other. And you get to number one. And to me, I thought it'd be Braun Strowman, or they had already shown Braun Strowman, but I thought that would be higher on the list. It was like second or third, which that's still good. Don't get me wrong. But it gets to number one, and it's showing Roman Reigns raising his hands at the end of WrestleMania. I mean, who was talking about that this week or last week? Like, why? How was that the story? How was that? Who was talking about that? Nobody. Nobody's talking about that. Like people, and this isn't a I hate Reigns, whatever. I'm not jumping on the hate train or anything like that. It's just, it's like they're so just like dead set on making him the story at all times, and it's just like that. Nobody's talking about that. Who's talking about that? So anyway, it's ridiculous at this point that and this is a tired conversation because again, this is coming from someone who doesn't hate Roman Reigns, but I just can't stand how the company wants to make him the guy. So okay, side note, Larry. So I was listening to Jericho's podcast with Angle a couple weeks back. It's actually really good. And Vince McMahon very intentionally used the Rocky Maivia failure as how to book Kurt Angle. So there was the whole, making Rocky Maivia like this super white meat baby face. He's just, this cheerleader of a guy, and he looks great. He's got great charisma, and you just send him out there being smiling and happy and just happy to be there, beating everybody, so on and so forth. And Vince McMahon because that didn't go well, Vince McMahon decided, okay, I want Kurt Angle to be the bad guy. I'm going to book Kurt Angle the same way we booked Rocky initially. And he tells Kurt this. And Kurt's like, I'm an Olympian. I'm a gold medalist. You're not, like, people aren't going to boo me. He's like, nah, don't worry. We're gonna push you so far down their throat that and we're going to make you so big a deal and you're going to make yourself such a big deal that they will hate you. Don't worry. Trust me, they will hate you. So Vince McMahon very intentionally does this with Kurt Angle, and it works like a charm. Fast forward to now. I don't see how the intent is to get the reaction you're getting with Roman Reigns, but you're doing that exact same booking that you did with Rocky Maivia, and you didn't get what you wanted, and then you did it on purpose with Kurt Angle, and you got exactly what you wanted, and now you're doing the exact same thing with Roman Reigns, and you're getting a reaction, but I don't think you're getting what you want. So, at what point? It's a tired conversation.
It's why I hate where he's like eating out of the palm of my hand. Well, what exactly are we eating out of the palm? You want us to hate you? That doesn't really go with your character. So how are we eating out of the palm of your hand? Like when he starts doing that motion when the crowd's booing every time he, tries to speak. It's like, all right, we're
sure
eating out of the palm of your hand, but what's the end game? If you're still...
Yeah, well, I mean, the from what I understand, I mean, I heard Reigns in a recent interview, and I don't want to run the guy down. He's had a rough week. Don't get me wrong, and that family has had a bad week. So this is not to be on the hate train, but I think it's partially on the audience, because the way they see it backstage is it's the loudest reaction of the night. Not it's what we want it to be or it's not what we want it to be. The most people care.
That's on the level of Vince Russo's people still remember it, so it must have been good kind of
I mean it is, which, people still remember that WCW died. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anyway, but that is what it is. But also, just since I mentioned it, thoughts and prayers seriously out to the Anoa'i family for their loss this week. I mean, that's super
Rosie.
rough.
Rosie, is that his brother? Roman Reigns' brother?
Yeah, that's his older brother. Yep.
Yeah.
Matt Anoa'i.
Kind of sucks. I met a few of them. I don't think it was Roman Reigns or Rosie or somebody, but when I was in office school, WXW in Pennsylvania, they would just hang out and they were helping around with the running the show and stuff like that. And
that's cool.
There was a lot of them, and I don't think any of them were the WWE variety, although maybe they eventually became, and I just never realized.
Yeah, who knows?
But,
I mean, they've been all over the business.
It's a big family, and I never know who's related to who. Man, that's always terrible when you hear stuff like that, and
he's in his 40s. I mean,
that's even worse there.
He's not even 10 years older than the two of us, so that's
not even.
Yeah. So
it's terrible, and actually, it's not funny so to speak, but it's kind of weird how just before we started the show, I learned that Joni from Joni Loves Chachi and Happy Days, Erin Moran, also passed away. And I'm like, wow. Man, is she really even? I don't even think she's even that old. She's like mid-50s. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell's going on?
Just a weird week.
Yeah, but just to get it in a more positive, happier direction here.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure that was said, because I didn't want to go on a big rant and then not mention, that I mean that sucks for the family, and I hope everybody's spirits are getting lifted by someone.
So we were a little faked out last week by Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax doing the little glances at each other and stuff like that. I'm actually happier that they are not on the same page, because I think Alexa really pulls off that weasel gimmick.
Yes, she does.
She really does. And I don't know if I've ever seen a female superstar, sports entertainer, wrestler ever be in that role before. And it really...
And that slap was fantastic in the match.
Yes.
Yeah.
Overall, I kind of enjoyed that match.
I did too.
It was really well done. I mean, it was kind of lulls in the match, though. I mean, I don't know if Mickie James necessarily meshes well with people. I don't know if her moveset is like...
I feel like Mickie is from the Call It in the Ring era, and all these ladies are from the planned sequences era.
For me, Mickie James does moves that on paper look spectacular, but often miss their mark by a mile.
Yeah, execution isn't quite there.
Like her mick kick, her spinning kick, her everything just seems like it's like flash and flare, along with like a brutality to it, but it often just misses ridiculously laughable bad, and then it's seen by the crowd, and the crowd has a reaction to it or no reaction to it because of it, and of course the wrestler is doing her job selling it. And it just looks, and then the announcers have to cover for it, saying, I don't think she got all of it, but she got enough, kind of stuff. I think Corey Graves is really good with doing stuff like that. And I think a lot of other announcers have also picked up the slack. And not just saying Mickie James does it, but when any wrestler does it, they've been doing a lot of the whole, like, we know you saw it miss, so we're going to acknowledge it by saying, we don't think she got all of it, but she got enough to to daze and confuse her or whatever. So
On that note, just a quick side note, I thought an interesting call I heard this week. I don't remember who it was. It may have been Graves. I don't remember who it was, but someone actually said he didn't even get his hands up to defend himself, like for some kick or something like that. Or
Yeah.
it may have been a ladies' match. I don't remember, but I thought it was interesting to hear someone acknowledge that, yeah, it makes sense that you put your hands up to defend yourself, but it's a lot of times that looks more choreographed than it should, and so it's not. It was just a cool call for someone to say, "Hey, that looked as real as it could look."
Well, you
is
often see in
what
a
they
real
said.
fight, not everything is night and day. People do retreat or get their hands up or try to move out of the
Sure.
way. Swings do miss and stuff like that. So whenever that kind of fighting happens in wrestling, oh, it's fake. Oh, look at that, it's fake, fake, fake. It's like, then when something actually does connect, how does that not hurt them? How does that not hurt them?
Yeah. I thought it was I'm sorry for the sidetrack, but it was a cool call. I'm like, hey, that's a neat little thing to throw in there. So I wish I could remember what match it was.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get to it in a little bit. Was it Finn Balor? Kurt Hawkins?
I don't know.
But anyway, he
Maybe it might have been.
with Alexa Bliss winning, I thought that was pretty good. And then you're still having the Emma and Dana Brooke stuff happen backstage. So there is, the Raw is doing some things with their women. They've only narrowed it. They've limited it to only one cruiserweight match this week as well, with T.J. Perkins and Jack Gallagher. Unless I'm missing one down here, I don't see it. So that's kind of good, and I think that's right. I think they need to get rid of the different color ring as well, and trying to make it its own entity. I'm okay with one a night, as a precursor to 205 Live or a continuation of last week's 205 Live leading into this week's 205 Live, because stuff is happening in their cruiserweight matches that do matter towards that TV show. So it's really not throwaway. It's enhanced kind of stuff, which is good because we can argue all the stuff all we want about their storylines and stuff doesn't matter, and then this matters, and I kind of get on the bandwagon of downplaying it because why
Less
is it happening?
more.
Yeah, why is it happening on Monday when they have their own show on Tuesday? Stuff like that.
True.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's the right people in the right angle right now with T.J. Perkins. Even throwing Gallagher in there with Aries and Neville, I think it's working pretty well. And it actually makes for interesting much more interesting than Noam Dar and Cedric Alexander with Alicia Fox.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So there's that. And then I kind of just don't like them putting Ambrose and The Miz together again. That isn't part of the reason they did the Superstar shakeup, to just shake things up, and then now we got this same crap going on.
Yeah, all they really did was just move things that were happening on one show 6 months ago to the other show.
And then what you brought up last week is we have a U.S. title match on a Raw TV show where the winner goes to the other show.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
So that doesn't make sense. But I mean,
it's really dumb.
but listen, they do the whole. It's probably the first time they've done the anything can happen. And anything did happen because storylines got broken up and matches that already existed are still taking place. So anything did happen, and it is chaos. And then we want to critique them for doing stuff like that. But it's like, sometimes I guess it has to make sense and has to happen at the same time for it to kind of to make sense. But yeah, I mean, listen, nothing on Raw really overly made me excited. So after breaking the ring, after standing up at the end of the ring, at the end of the match, like Braun Strowman, like he's on the bigger and better things, right? He already defeated Roman Reigns. He already knocked out the Big Show and survived the earthquake of the ring collapsing. He's gonna have a dumps.
No, he's back to he's back to Roman Reigns. Remember, because that was the thing was he told Brock, wait till you see what you're going to have to deal with whatever's left of Roman Reigns.
But after all of that, next week he's having a dumpster match with Kalisto.
With Kalisto, yeah.
We went from Roman Reigns face to face with Brock Lesnar, knocking out Roman Reigns, knocking out the Big Show. Now we're going to do a dumpster match with Kalisto. And I can only imagine that something from that dumpster match is going to stem, Roman Reigns is in the dumpster and whatever. But I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand why that's like a announced match for next week. Like, hey, listen, he's beat the Big Show. He's knocked out Roman Reigns, but can he fend off the 4'7" Kalisto? So we'll see.
Right.
Last thing on Raw, I want to address. I don't know if there's anything you want to address, but what's Samoa Joe?
Like, according to him, he is the beneficiary of Triple H.
So he exists just
whatever
to beat
that
up Chris
means.
Jericho?
I guess so.
And I guess Seth. Well, I guess him and Seth Rollins are gonna have a thing because Seth Rollins confronted him right from the announce desk after that. It just seems like
that sounds good.
What is his not being part of WrestleMania about? Like, I never read anything. I never read anything that said why he wasn't at WrestleMania or anything that indicated like he didn't have a match at WrestleMania. It was just basically ignored that Samoa Joe was probably one of the only people that wasn't, Paige and Eva Marie that wasn't at WrestleMania. Do you know anything about that?
I have no idea. I thought it was strange. I thought it was strange to introduce him to everything and make him such a vital part of the Rollins Triple H story, and then he just was nothing.
And he was not in the Battle Royal, and he never appeared.
Yeah.
In that match whatsoever. So
yeah,
but Stephanie was a part of the match, so
seemed odd.
Seemed very odd. So hey, you want to head on over to SmackDown?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I will say I felt like one of the highlights of of Raw was the ladies match. You're right, it did lag in places, but I liked how it was constructed and
it has great dynamic.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good way to say it.
It really does with the bigger Nia Jax and the smaller Alexa Bliss and the fan favorite Sasha Banks, who's really not that big herself. She's about as small as Alexa Bliss, really.
Yeah.
And then then the old veteran Mickey James. So it has a lot of range, and the fan favorite Bayley.
Yep.
Everyone's little sister with the championship. So it's got a lot of dynamic to it. And even add on top of that Emma and Dana Brooke, which they can do anything with. It's just they can do a lot of stuff with their women's division, and I think they made the right moves in terms of moving people over to make both those divisions really exciting to watch. And if we want to just parlay that over onto the SmackDown Live side now,
sure.
Charlotte whining about how she hasn't gotten her title rematch yet. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, fantastic.
I really did. And Naomi giving her the business. I mean,
yes.
I gave her the business. And I really did. And of course, there goes the non-title match for the title shot. You knew Charlotte was going to get the favor, but I actually like the dynamic. I'm going to say that word again of the other girls, Tamina, Natalya, and Carmella, and James Ellsworth.
I found that a little awkward, but I wasn't disappointed in its awkwardness. If that makes sense at all.
Just Natalya's
I don't know.
It's Natalya's mannerisms during these sequences, like the way she talks and then pauses and looks as other people are responding, or it just makes it seem like horrible acting. But
yeah.
But like the whole bumping of Charlotte as she's trying to walk by, I'm like, this can go places. Charlotte's going to get her title rematch, and everyone's going to intervene on her behalf. And guess what? Surprise! 6-pack challenge at the next pay-per-view on the pre-show for the women's title. But let's hope it doesn't go.
Let's hope not. I will say I didn't really like the predictability of, oh, you guys always do this. You have the champ lose and lose and lose and lose and lose, but they're all non-title matches or they're tag matches or whatever. That the champ just keeps getting pinned, and I hate that. It's become tropey at this point, and it needs to stop. And so I didn't really like that. That's where this match ended. I actually wanted the little motley crew to cost Charlotte the match.
I really
That's
wanted
what I wanted. That's what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, I wanted that as well. I was actually surprised the match went through with no one else showing up. Because, I mean, even if Motley Crue intervenes, here comes Becky for the save. And now we got Charlotte and Becky versus any two of them, and then Naomi and whoever else is left for the title.
And then Naomi takes the pin still. So that's I still wouldn't like that. but
I'm saying Charlotte and Becky team up. The horsewomen team up. Same way we're talking about the Shield reuniting.
Oh, okay.
Charlotte and Becky team up, and then turn Charlotte over to the good side, or just like playing this Sheamus role.
Sure.
And against Natalya and Carmella with
okay, I got you. I dig that. Yeah,
it'd be nice. You know what I don't like though, and I get sometimes why they have the matches against the champion to determine if the person's worthy for the. I think Ring of Honor calls it something. They call it. I forget what they call it. They call it something where the TV title guy gives somebody a shot out of nowhere, and if they win, then they're in line for a future title shot down the line. I don't mind that so much as because they already had a number one contenders match here. But here's what I don't like. Last week we had the number one contender match for the U.S. title was the main event. This time we had the number one contender match for the WWE Championship as the opening match. Why is the U.S. title more important than the WWE Championship?
Because Randy Orton is boring.
Because Jinder Mahal, I guess, is not the main event winner either. That people want to see to end the TV show. But isn't that what people like us are clamoring for? Jinder Mahal won that match. It wasn't Luke Harper. It wasn't Dolph Ziggler. It wasn't Sami Zayn. It was Jinder Mahal. Like, isn't that different? Don't we want to see stuff like that? I'm guessing no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I it's weird. It's on the one hand, it's different, but then on the other hand, it's like you said, it seems like things are out of order. Like I'm cool with Jinder being the guy. Like I am actually cool with like that's so unexpected. And I saw lots of people hating it, and then I saw plenty of people saying exactly what you're saying. Hey, this is a new guy getting a shot. What's wrong with that?
He didn't
this
come
is a
over
guy. This is a guy who hasn't ever really had a shot at anything in the WWE, to the point of being let go at some point, and now he's not just back; he's going for the top title. I mean, come on.
He didn't become Mojo's whipping boy in that move. He lost once. And now he's the number one contender for the title, going to face Randy Orton. And then they made it all about Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt thereafter, even with Jinder Mahal still in the ring, staring down Randy Orton. So, yeah, you're number one contender, but still.
I wanted something to happen where after the Bray promo, instead of just going to the bumpers, Mahal did something. I wanted to see Jinder do something.
Yeah, that never happened.
Yeah, but
I also like the Bollywood boys.
Yeah, I also love the major heel turn of the week, which is the Bollywood boys.
So there's a backstory to this, and WWE is opening up. They're going on TV in India. So they need some top level representative for Indian programming in India, so that they have the same way that the China relationship had the guys in the cruiserweight division tournament and
Andre the Giant. Yep.
And same way like that. Like, it's nothing new, but they're actually going in India on the second leading sports network. I think it's Fox Sports, if I'm not mistaken. Which is the second largest sports network in India. And the first largest sports network in India has a big deal with Impact Wrestling. So there's actually competition in India.
This is like head-to-head competition then.
Yeah, there's actually a quote-unquote Monday Night War in India right now between two competing American wrestling companies. It's kind of sad that it's not here that it's happening, but it's over there. But so Jinder's going to get a little bit of a spotlight, and the Bollywood boys are going to back him up just so they have Indian representatives on TV going forward for when the deal when they start airing network TV Raws and stuff over there. So,
But from what I understand, in India, India is like kayfabe heaven. Like what's on TV is what they believe is really like that. They take it as they take it as a TV show. So you know, and like people can do whatever they want to do on social media or whatever. Like it's they take the characters as the characters.
mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that you're going for your big push in that market, and you're making all the people of, you know, maybe not of, but connected to that nationality, the villains.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that's so WWE. It's not even
and
like,
impacted it
it's
on the reverse side. They actually made the guy go from heel to standing up for himself.
But that makes sense.
Yeah, well,
it's like that's sensible and like that's the proper thing to do.
Yeah.
Make that guy the good guy. But it's so WWE. It's ridiculous.
Back on the line, a proper thing to do. Did you enjoy Primo and Epico as much as I did?
Oh yeah, I loved it. And by the way, did you see them on Talking Smack?
I did not. So fill me in.
They were really good, and they basically said, we're veterans in this business, and we've basically run a wrestling company, and I also like how that was said on commentary as well.
Yes.
That was cool. But
we're not ignoring who they are anymore.
Exactly.
Wow.
And they basically said, you know, we're in Puerto Rico, we're legends, and it's about time we get the respect we deserve here. Like they were sort of, it was that blurring of the lines, sort of Miz style promo. They weren't screaming or anything like that, but where they're saying the exact truth and coming off, you know, sort of bitter about it, but at the same time, it's they were respectful, and Shane agreed with them. He's just like, well, I mean, they're right. He's just like, these guys have been around the business. He's like, they've grown up in the business just like I have, and they've probably, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but he implied that they've done more in the business than he ever has, and they, you know, if they're gonna step up, then they deserve the opportunities, you know, using the land of opportunity thing.
So
too much.
Brand split wise and you know, superstar shakeup wise, I do, and I like when SmackDown does this better than Raw. SmackDown is more inviting to the wrestlers on their roster for being welcome there, whether they're heel or face, or no matter how high or low they are on the card.
Sure.
Shane and it's talking smack and everything. It's always, we're glad to have them. They have a place here. They have matches that mean something, kind of stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that Shane's like, yeah, he agrees with the heels, because,
sure,
you know, hey, else why would he want them on his show? Like,
yeah,
that
that's
makes
right.
sense.
He signed them, right?
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. It's actually logical, right?
And where I hate it is where, and this is more on the Raw side, it's us versus them. Like the fans are divided. The fans are not divided. They're wrestling fans. Yeah. They watch WWE. Nobody is okay. Very few people, I would have to argue, are I'm Team Raw. I hate everything SmackDown does. I'll never watch it. I really don't think it happened. It's not, you know, Atlanta Braves, New York Mets.
Sure,
it's not. It's people like wrestling,
or Braves Nationals at this point.
Not,
they've become.
It's not WWE and, you know, Impact Wrestling like they kind of want it to be.
Sure.
Whatever. But so I like how SmackDown.
Yeah, not even close.
No, I like how SmackDown does that stuff. U.S. Open Challenge, or sorry, Face of America Open Challenge.
I loved it.
I like it too. I do like Owens on commentary. I think it becomes a little bit too much sometimes, especially with JBL. But I mean, like, it's good with him with JBL because they're so heel that, you know, it makes what he's saying invalidate, like, Tom Phillips and everybody, and who else? Byron. Yep. But at the same time, it's like, well, it's like Bray Wyatt saying, you know, Atlanta, we're here, and popping the crowd. So they made him stop saying Atlanta, we're here. It's you're getting the fans to like you by being that rude idiot on the announce table because you're making people laugh.
Yeah, well, it's this weird place in wrestling now where, and I'm getting this way with other shows too, and it sort of annoys me. Like where when someone's a really, really good bad guy now,
Yes.
I pop for it now because I'm like, it reminds me.
Damn it, that Murdoch's gonna get MacGyver sooner or later.
Well, he's a good example though, because back in the day, I wasn't like smart to things as I would say I am now. But even him, like I thought Murdoch was a great character because it's just like he's like this guy that's just like he's always there. He's always the back. And I remember being sad.
And sometimes you don't realize it's Murdoch until 40 minutes into the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Murdoch out of nowhere.
Yeah, and that was cool, because it's like this recurring villain, and it reminded me of comic books where it's just like comic books where, it's like who is behind all this, It's and they would mask it and veil it so well, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh my gosh, it's Murdoch, It's like I loved it, even as a kid who didn't really understand that concept of enjoying a bad guy being really good at being a bad guy.
Unless there's a Murdoch in the new MacGyver spinoff on CBS, like 90% of the people don't know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, we're old. So.
Have you seen the new MacGyver?
I haven't.
I have not either, but it's been renewed for a second season, so maybe I'll catch up on it.
Well, it must be. Yeah, we should maybe catch up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have been watching the third season of Bosch hit Amazon Prime recently.
Oh. See, I haven't been into all those Amazon, Netflix, exclusive shows. I don't know. Unless I'm a TV.
Well, you like the week to week idea, and a lot of people just don't do that anymore.
No, I mean I like the binge watching now.
Oh, you do?
More than week to week, yeah, because right around somewhere like when Lost was on TV, ABC would do this 2 weeks on, 3 weeks off. 1 week on, 2 weeks off, 4 weeks on, 1 week off. Yeah, so I really hated that. So like it's sweeps week, we got to go for the ratings, so let's play anything that's not our original programming. Well, that makes sense. So I really hated that stuff. So I do like the binge watching, but I also like when TV shows go for a couple seasons first before I check them out. So I know that there's content there, and I'm not invested in one season like a one and done. At the same time, but remember, I'm also TV production trained with degrees and stuff, so I always like the broadcasting aspect of it. So I like when networks and cable companies succeed and have like I like the ratings wars, and I like when they I like this time of the year when things are like on the bubble, renewed, canceled. Like that's kind of like my I don't even know how to put it. It's like my NFL draft, my combine of the year.
No, I get you. Well, you know what I like is when a babyface succeeds in a cage match in his farewell match. I really like that.
That's, and they include others in the match to distract from the finish. Not distract from the finish, but to kind of make the finish chaotic.
Sure,
way,
and essentially more believable.
Yeah, like here comes Sanity, Ty's in danger. Oh, here comes Ty's friends. Oh, but Sanity's still in the, getting in the ring, getting in the cage. So
and how about Roderick Strong apparently being overcome with emotion and having tears in his eyes and getting me emotional while I'm walking around the track staring at my phone.
See, now I'm watching Roderick Strong at the end. And by if you don't know where we're talking about, we moved on to NXT. Ty Dillinger defeated Eric Young in a cage match, and that was
completely ungraceful.
That was Ty's big send off of from NXT. Now that he's on SmackDown Live.
Locking his demons in a cage. That was a great line.
So he, Roderick Strong has Ty Dillinger on his shoulders along with Cassius Ohno. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, this guy, he looks out of place. But he's like singing along with the music or chanting along, like under his, like not trying not to do it, but doing it at the same time. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if he's like marking out or if he's awkward or if he's not playing the role right. Like, I don't know what I'm thinking right now, but man, damn, does he look good in that jacket. Oh no, actually, I was thinking, damn, he must be hot in that jacket.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that it was getting to him, but they seemed genuinely caught up in the moment, and I was, and it got me caught up in it too, because it was just, I don't know, it was, I was so surprised by the finish. I was just thoroughly surprised that someone actually left NXT as the conquering hero as opposed to on their back.
And that really
And
is the first time they've done that, isn't it?
yeah, and it was just so. I mean, not even Sami Zayn got that. You know, Sami Zayn got the crap kicked out of him for an hour.
Finn Balor got the crap kicked out of him for
yeah.
You know,
So,
Paige might have been the only one, but you know, she relinquished the title.
Yeah, that was different. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was. But I thought that was an interesting choice, because I suspect we'll see some of that. We'll definitely get those dots connected on SmackDown this week, and that puts him in. I mean, he's not a, you know, I doubt Ty is ever going to be your main eventer, and I doubt he ever expects to be a main eventer type guy, especially with, like, if you've seen what he said to NXT as he was leaving or whatever, that the audience, that, you know, this was sort of his last shot, and thanks to the crowd, and they saw something, you know, backstage finally saw something in him that they didn't expect, and he saw something in himself that he didn't really know was there or whatever. You know, I'll you know, it was well spoken, much better than I'm speaking it now, but I strongly, or I get the feeling that we'll see some of that with SmackDown. And again, it doesn't make him necessarily main event, but man, that it seems like that would move him up the card pretty significantly.
This is why we need the U.S. title for people like Ty Dillinger and not Apollo Crews when he was there, and maybe like at the bottom of the upper tier level, like a Dolph Ziggler holding the U.S. title, fighting guys like Ty Dillinger.
Sure.
You know, that's what these mid-card titles need to be. They don't need to be the main event.
Yeah.
Because you have a main event title that you're not making the main event.
Right.
So why do you have... I mean, if you don't want Jinder Mahal to be your number one contender going against Randy Orton for the title because you don't think it's a big enough draw, then why don't you take AJ Styles and Kevin Owens and somehow get the title on one of them and have that feud at the top of the card, while you can have Jinder Mahal versus Ty Dillinger for the U.S. title, or, you know, whatever.
Well, and it's so weird that you have the big pay-per-views, or the big events, whatever we're calling them now. You have the big events that are basically just highlighting whatever's happening on Raw, and SmackDown gets sort of the scraps of it, and typically somehow outshines Raw in a lot of slots, very often. I'm stumbling over my words, but typically you see SmackDown sort of win the show in a way, even though they're given, you know, pre-show slots, and okay, you can open the show. Okay, you're the come down match before the main event and stuff like that. And somehow that's what people come away from the event talking about more typically. I was going somewhere with this. Where was I going? Oh, so you have the big shows that are more Raw centric. So you would think that for the SmackDown exclusive shows, you would be building to bigger matches, like you're saying. Like you would think that your big matches, or that your SmackDown exclusive shows would be building to Randy Orton and AJ Styles, or you know, something like that. But instead, you know, by that time, AJ Styles could be the champ that runs the camp again, except it's the U.S. title. So it's just weird. It's strange booking. It really is. I like seeing other people get opportunities, but man, it would make a lot more sense if what you were saying is true, that the mid-card title is sort of how you transition people to the upper card, as opposed to you put all the titles on the tippy top guys and just make people lose to them constantly, and then eventually some other tippy top guy takes it from them. It's weird.
Yeah, if it's not tippy top, it's top 5. So,
Sure.
I mean, you know, on Raw, it makes a little bit more sense, even though Ambrose has the title over there. He's definitely top 5. Fan reaction might even be like top 4.
Sure.
You know? But you have a champion who's not going to work every week. So to have an elevated intercontinental, it's like polar opposites. There's no champion on Raw on TV right now, and you have the main title holder who's on the card, the intercontinental title holder who's on the card, doing a throwaway talk show interview spot, while your main event and your other matches are with guys that don't have titles, and guys involved in feuds that don't have titles involved with them. But yet on SmackDown, your main event is your secondary title, and you're burying the number 1 contender match on like the lead-in, the first match of the night, you know, spanned across like 4 commercial breaks.
And like you said, essentially ignoring that the guy who just won the number 1 contendership is the number 1 contender. Like
right.
You're not making you're making him. You literally made him a non-threat.
You really just like tore him down right in that next segment with Randy, especially when Randy Orton like no-sold him, and you didn't have him do anything. Like if he did something, well, now Randy Orton's got 2 things. Now he's got Jinder Mahal in his mind while he's wrestling Bray Wyatt, and you know things can. And he's left.
All he had to do was throw a punch.
Yeah,
like that's all he had to do. Just throw a punch after the Wyatt thing. But anyway,
yeah, back on NXT. Yep. I did enjoy that match, and then again next week we're going to go back to a UK title match, but Gallagher, who's a 205 Live guy, fighting a UK guy on NXT TV, and you know I don't like that because I want Ty Dillinger moments. I want the next Ty Dillinger in the ring. I want, you know, what did Peyton Royce and Billy Kay going to do after they lost to Aaliyah and Liv Morgan? I want who's Cien Almas gonna mock. Next, you know, I want Hideo Itami confronting Bobby Roode. I want more of that stuff, and I want less one-off matches that don't have anything to do with the NXT universe.
Yes.
Which is.
But speaking of Almas, can we park on him for just one moment?
Yeah.
Have you picked up on the fact that Almas's story is poking fun at Alberto yet? Have you picked up on that?
Actually, I haven't. What has he exactly been doing?
Just the whole thing is he's more concerned with partying and everything he's doing outside the ring instead of building his career inside the ring.
Oh, see, I never knew Alberto Del Rio had that rap of doing that.
Well, I mean that's kind of what happened. You know, he ran around with Paige and you know bought some MMA thing or something, like just some random weird thing he did. Like just whatever. It feels like it's a little bit of a dig at him, but it's a good they should just go full bore. It's a good character for Almas too. But I think he should fall in love with some random girl on the roster like Mandy Rose or something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They should be like even a Paige lookalike. They should just make him fall in love with Paige. Paige, we need you. Call her up. We need you. We need you on TV.
Yeah,
and that's it. Up. That's what they do. It's really getting over on the Alberto Del Rio.
Now there's some Vince Russo booking. We're gonna take.
I think that's more McMahon than it is Russo.
Yeah, that probably is. You're probably right. But I really like what they're doing with Almas's character. I think they are. It is a slight subtle dig at Del Rio.
Yeah.
But I think Almas is happy to actually be involved in any sort of anything.
Well, I said, he's like the top 4 guy in the company, enough for them to put him on all the logos and stuff now.
Yeah, he's one of the faces of NXT at this point. So.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't know if they're going for, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but I don't know if they're doing the diversity thing on the promo posters, because you have Galloway, who's European, and you have Cien Almas, and then you have Rude, who's Canadian, and then you have the other guy, who I don't even remember who it is. Who I guess would represent United States, but I don't know if they're doing something like that or if he's just purely the top guy. And listen, they turn around people in NXT, the last guy is Cassius Ohno, by the way, wearing like a mock USA replica jersey. So
yeah, that's about as USA as you get.
yeah, it's pretty much as USA as you can get. But so I don't know. Again, it goes back to Ty Dillinger. It's like, well, NXT can bring you these moments because of what NXT is. It's a stepping stone. And they can embrace Ty Dillinger leaving and give him that opportunity and moment in that match, as well as elevate Cien Almas at the same time. So that, hey, here's a novel concept. Isn't this what kind of like a mid-card title does? It elevates people by giving them the title. Well, NXT elevates people by making them higher in the ranks.
Yeah, making them more important, and you see them every week.
And they have a finale.
I know it sounds contradictory to, we don't need to see this match every week, but that's the thing, is we don't see Cien Almas fighting the same person every single week.
And
we see his story. We see his story progressing. We don't see stagnation.
Even when we
do on the main roster.
Joe Ballard, Joe Nakamura, I mean, those are 2 or 3 matches that took place over 6-7 months, which only had 2 or 3 matches to them, and not like every combination of every match every week. In fact, they're not even on TV 3 out of the 4 weeks of the month, because we're high.
Well, and one of the title matches, or a title actually changed hands in one of those feuds, off the air, completely off the air.
Both of those feuds.
Oh, you're right.
Because Nakamura won it back in Japan.
You're right.
Yeah, both of those feuds. So they're not too. But I do say all this, and when you mentioned Ty Dillinger to begin with, this was on my mind. Another rehash Angry Larry rant is, I really do hope NXT does bring out a TV title one day. Because at every TV taping, you can have it defended twice. They pretty much everyone does 2 matches. And you can have it change hands on house shows. So now people like are looking forward to something. Something might happen. For every like one-off Samoa Joe winning the title you get, you can have that several times over in a month on house shows in NXT, with people flip-flopping, the TV title over the weekend. So it's back on the same person when they come back to TV.
Oh yeah, that's great.
So that's nothing like they haven't done with the tag team titles back in the WCW or territory days and stuff like that. But it seems like NXT is built on regional promotion roots and stuff like that. So that's something I really because again, Ty Dillinger made a name for himself. He didn't need that TV title. But if that TV title were there and it was him versus Young, and Young took it from him, and then Young lost it to somebody else in the meantime, but Ty Dillinger is still salty from that. Like, there's so much you can do with that, a TV title.
It adds a layer.
And even Cien Almas or Hideo Itami or Ono, anybody really. It's because you only have one main story every 3 months. And then stemming from that, it's just everyone else is having great matches on the undercard, but they kind of mean nothing long term. A TV title would bring a little bit of flair to the TV show. I think it'd get more people interested who aren't even NXT fans, so to speak. But because I have to imagine people would watch NXT for the first time and not see a title match ever, and be like, okay, so was this like superstars?
Yeah, what do people wrestle for here? Yep.
Yeah, was it just wrestling? Like, why do I even care? It's just wrestling.
Yeah.
Same people that would scoff at Ring of Honor or whatever. It's just wrestling. It's no meaning. But I would like to see that. And then just finishing it off here, 205 Live and Austin Aries, Perkins, and I'll go on record and saying I haven't watched it, but at least the highlights and reading about it is still interesting to me. Like,
it was good.
Yeah, I like this TJ Perkins succumbing to Neville's, advice, and Austin Aries being kind of like the victim of it all. And
I really want TJ's theme music to change a little bit and to sound more like boss battle music. Like
that'd be cool.
Yeah, just have a boss battle version of his theme that sort of works toward his more dark side, more heel heel character,
Mhm.
and he did. He's playing. I mean, ever since last week, he's playing up that. Yeah, okay, I'm going to be a bad guy, and he wore darker colors this week, and came out and just kind of didn't really pander to the crowd or anything like that. Um, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I really like what's happening with him, and for someone to go from, wow, this guy's going to be a great babyface. Oh no, he's really bland. That's not good. He's just making video game references. They're forced. Oh no, it's not good. Oh, he's a bad guy now, and it's really good.
I,
It's nice. It's nice. It's just nice to see people progressing through, and becoming better when the character fits. When the story makes sense and the character fits the story, and they're playing the character well. And
I'm
he's doing a great job.
a little bit of me on Monday Night Raw was hoping that something you said was right, and that Jack Gallagher was going to.
Oh man, I want everyone. I want everyone to start turning on Aries. I really do.
I want a Raven, not just turning on Aries, but maybe turning on 205 Live. Maybe just yeah, I just want a Ravens flock. I want everyone's
Yeah.
Neville's lackey, and then they do his bidding for him, including wrestling his opponent instead of him. Like he's just going to take a night off. So, you know, you send Stevie Richards in, or Sick Boy, or Reese, or whoever, Kidman, whoever else was in Lodi, I guess. Did I just name them all?
yeah.
I just named them all like
I
that.
think you did. I think you pulled it off.
Yeah. And I didn't even look that up. That was just top of my head. Remember Lodi and Lenny Lane? Nah, we'll talk about that another day. But I do want that kind of thing because, again, they don't have stables. They don't have flocks. They don't have
Well,
families.
I mean, there's two things you don't get in WWE anymore, because apparently there's no money in it, and it's stables and or factions, whatever you want to call them, and managers. Yeah, we can't have managers, because then the talent can't get over, because we're not going to teach people how to be proper managers and get the talent over. Yeah. So
Even NXT doesn't have managers, and they started out by having a couple managers. And
NXT could benefit from managers.
Well, I mean, they have Ellering, but Ellering has been a manager. You know what I mean? He doesn't count.
Right.
You know, he's a Hall of Fame manager. So
well, and they won't. The thing is, they're not teaching people to be managers. They're not having people come in and say, okay, yeah, you're not going to be an in-ring guy, but you can take some bumps every now and then. So we're going to have you be, and you've got a great mouth on you. So we're going to have you be the manager.
Ron does have a good point in chat here where he says Mahal will probably have a stable. So Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys, like we talked about earlier. So that's interesting.
That's a good point.
Not on the level of, here's our champion Neville, just recruiting everybody. Everyone hates him, but now he's all of a sudden creating this ridiculous stable of people who are now following him. Like he has that. Mahal won't have that cult-like ability or following. It's just a group of people bound together by nationality, I feel, and that's how WWE will portray it. Whereas with Neville, it could be like a cult faction, or what the Wyatt family should have been. We're following him because he's teaching us the ways, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. I think that's
Neville's advocates.
Neville's advocates. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, I mean, listen, I miss the days of Bobby Heenan and Blassie and all those good managers, Mr. Fuji. But at some point in time, they went away. I guess the Jeb Coulter thing didn't really work out for him, and that was like really the last thing they tried to do.
Yeah, and one last thing that has nothing to do with NXT or 205 Live, but it's just an interesting side note. How about Big E is officiating weddings?
He said he was going to do that last week, though.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
Well, I sent you a picture.
Yeah, I saw that.
Congratulations to Joseph and Brisa. He's standing there in his red tux.
By the way, what was that? What was that? I'm sorry. Go finish that first.
No. Just looking sharp. Being Big E, but officiating weddings. It's hilarious. That's what a funny side job for a wrestler. What a hilarious side job.
So you showed me a link that was Jamie Dundee of PG-13 fame from Memphis, USWA, fighting Dolph Ziggler. Now hold on. Before you correct me. And I'm watching it going, my God, Jamie Dundee was really good, wasn't he? And it really never occurred to me that was never Dolph Ziggler.
It looks just like him, doesn't it?
So I couldn't tell if someone just like edited Dolph Ziggler's mannerisms. I'm like, well, I guess the way he's dancing around on the outside of the looks kind of photoshopped or edited. And then like I was trying to read the comments and someone's like, is that Armstrong? And I don't even know who the hell it was.
I don't know who it is either. Like I didn't research it at all, but I'm like, is this for real? Like, and it took me a second, and I love that the guy said, here's Dolph Ziggler working Puerto Rico against Jamie Dundee in the 1990s after he constructed a time machine.
But I couldn't understand. Like but I was still feeling like it was Ziggler, and it never dawned on me until I read the comments. And I'm critiquing Jamie Dundee like a stupid mark I am. I'm like, hey, he wasn't that bad. Like PG-13 had a like small cup of coffee on ECW and WWE programming. But they were actually pretty good, pretty entertaining, and they were like USWA main. Oh wait, no, I guess that's not Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, right.
But did you see like another video that was linked to those comments?
The Daniel Bryan one?
Yes.
With the That's hilarious.
I think that was a little bit more freaky than the Dolph Ziggler one, because the Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, that's hilarious. It looks like the Daniel Wyatt version.
Right.
Like,
he's
got the coveralls.
He's wearing the coveralls. Oh god, that was funny when I saw that. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, the memes. The memes are great, and wrestling memes are even greater. But you got anything else for this week?
No, actually. Well, I mean, I don't think we ever touched on it, but the last bit of news and notes, I guess, we have to officially close off on the Simon Gotch chapter in WWE.
What do you mean officially close off?
Oh, he's been released.
Oh, I thought we said that last week.
Did we say that last week? I mean, I guess we don't. Did we say that last week? There was actually an incident that people were relaying it to, like the final straw was he tipped over his chair and made a big catering, like he fell over in his chair and he made a big deal about it. And so he gave his side of the story, like to clear it up. And he said he fell over on his chair, but he wouldn't give up until someone pinned him. So he was yelling at one of the production crew to pin him. And the production crew was being nice, trying to help him up. And then he just kept yelling at him. Pin me, pin me, pin me, and making a big deal about it. I'm like, well, Simon, you're not really like defending your case here. Yeah, basically, the story was you tipped over your chair and you made a big scene.
Sounds like you just came off as an angry Mark, is what it sounds like you came off as.
Well, he's defending his positioning of not making a scene by saying he tipped himself over in a chair and he was yelling at
a scene
by making a scene. So it's like, well, whatever. So, I mean, that's it.
Oh,
Yeah, and then the last thing, which was interesting to note, was before the whole John Cena wedding proposal thing, the idea for WrestleMania was going to be Nakamura debuting against The Miz in an Intercontinental title open challenge. They were going to keep the title on The Miz, and they were going to do it like Miz versus Daniel Bryan by proxy. Like you pick anybody and I'll defeat them since you can't wrestle. And Daniel Bryan was going to unveil Nakamura. Nakamura was going to win the title at WrestleMania, Intercontinental title, but John Cena, I'm not going to say John Cena interjected because he wanted to get proposed, but wanted to propose at WrestleMania. But then they made the story of Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice and got the title off of the Miz to do it. So, but wouldn't that have been cool? Nakamura debuting at WrestleMania instead of
winning a title
and going to commercial 2 weeks in a row on SmackDown.
Yeah, and
not on TV this week.
Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense. But I guess they wanted to. Well, and I find it interesting and then you connect the dots of Miz in his last appearance on SmackDown is mocking John Cena and is essentially saying John Cena's gone, and Miz is essentially saying goodbye, and Nakamura interrupts and comes in and does his entrance, and there's no interaction whatsoever. But anyway,
he
which
just
was
powdered,
weird.
Basically, as soon as the music.
Yeah,
maybe
he just left.
No, I think
I still felt like that was sort of a passing of the baton. Here's a new top guy for the show. But
I thought it was the beginning of a feud, but
yeah,
I guess anything can happen in the Superstar shakeup.
Yeah, anything,
Anything can
including
happen.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke. He's the Larry. Have a great week.
Yeah, have a great week, everybody. I'm being nice. Bye.